Imagine this. You walking down the street, minding your own business, when someone comes up to you and says something that cuts deep. Maybe they mock your appearance. Maybe they question your worth. Maybe they try to tear down everything you've built. What do? Most people, they explode. They get angry. They defend themselves frantically. They let their emotions take control. But here's what Machiavelli knew 500 years ago, and what most people will never understand. He who lets himself be moved by insults is already defeated. You see, the moment you react, you've already lost. The moment you let someone else control your emotions, you've handed them your power on a silver plate. But what if I told you there's another way? What if I told you that you could reach a state where no one, and I mean no one, could disturb your peace? Where insults bounce off you like water off stone? Where you become so mentally untouchable that people start to fear your calmness more than they fear anyone as anger? That's exactly what this video will teach you. These aren't just tips. These are the dark laws of mental mastery that Machiavelli would have used to stay unshakable in a world full of chaos. By the end of this video, you'll know how to become the person who never gets bothered, never loses control, and never gives anyone the satisfaction of seeing you break. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I am untouchable. The Machiavellian principle of detachment. Before we dive into the laws, you need to understand this fundamental truth. People can only bother you when you give them permission. Think about it. When someone insults you, the insult itself is just words, just sounds coming out of their mouth. The power doesn't come from their words. It comes from your reaction to those words. Power begins where reactions end. Most people think being unbothered means being weak, being passive, being a pushover. They couldn't be more wrong. Indifference isn't weakness. It's dominance. It's the ultimate form of control. When you stop reacting to people's attempts to provoke you, you rob them of their power. You become the master of your own emotional state. You become dangerous. And that's exactly what we're going to make you. Dangerous in the best possible way. Dangerous because you're unpredictable. Dangerous because you can't be manipulated. Dangerous because you're in complete control. Here are Machiavelli's 10 dark laws that will make you unbothered, untouchable, and unstoppable. Law 1. Expect disrespect before it arrives. Most people walk through life expecting fairness. They expect people to be kind, to be respectful, to play by the rules. And when people don't, they're shocked, they're hurt, they're unprepared. But Machiavelli understood. Disrespect isn't an accident. It's a strategy. People use it to test you, to control you, to see if they can get under your skin. When you expect betrayal, envy, and mockery, nothing surprises you. When you're prepared for the worst behavior humans can offer, you become unshakable. Think of it like this. If you're walking through a dangerous neighborhood, you don't act surprised when you see crime. You're prepared. You're alert. You're ready. Life is that dangerous neighborhood. And most people, they're walking through it with their guard down, wondering why they keep getting hurt. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does." Finally, the wise person prepares for disrespect. The fool gets caught off guard every single time. When you expect people to try to bother you, their attempts become predictable. When their attempts become predictable, they lose all power over you. This doesn't make you cynical. It makes you realistic. It makes you prepared. It makes you strong. From today forward, assume that some people will try to disrespect you. Assume that some people will try to tear you down. When you're prepared for it, you can handle it with ice-cold calmness. Law 2. Master the art of silence. Here's something most people don't realize. Your silence is more powerful than any comeback you could ever deliver. When someone tries to provoke you when they insult you, mock you, or try to start an argument, they're looking for one thing: your reaction. They want to see you get angry. They want to see you defend yourself. They want to see you lose control. Your reaction is their victory. Your silence is yours. Think about the last time someone tried to provoke you and you stayed completely silent. What happened? They probably got uncomfortable. They probably tried harder. They probably started to doubt themselves. That's the power of silence. When you don't give them the reaction they're looking for, you force them to question everything. Did their insult not work? Are you stronger than they thought? Are you planning something? Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates fear. Fear creates respect. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Your silence makes you unpredictable. Unpredictable people are dangerous. Dangerous people are respected. But here's the key. Your silence can be the silence of someone who is hurt and doesn't know what to say. It has to be the silence of someone who's choosing not to respond. There's a massive difference. The hurt person's silence screams weakness. The choosing person's silence whispers power. How do you develop this kind of silence? Practice. The next time someone tries to provoke you, count to 10 before you respond. Then count to 20. Then try staying silent altogether. Watch how they react. Watch how uncomfortable they become. Watch how your silence kills their ego more effectively than any insult ever could. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence is strength. Law 3. Never let emotions betray you. Rage, tears, over-explaining. These are all signs of weakness that your enemies will use against you. The moment you show uncontrolled emotion, you've revealed where they can hurt you. You've shown them your weak spots. But most people don't understand. You don't have to eliminate emotions. You have to control them. There's a massive difference between feeling angry and showing anger. The master feels everything but shows nothing. The amateur shows everything and controls nothing. When someone tries to provoke you, you might feel that fire rising in your chest. Your heart might start racing. Your hands might start shaking. That's normal. That's human. But what separates the strong from the weak is what happens next. The weak person lets those emotions control their actions. The strong person acknowledges those emotions and then decides how to respond. Machiavelli once said, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." Emotional control makes you unpredictable. When people can't predict your emotional responses, they can't manipulate you. When they can't manipulate you, they start to fear you. Show calmness even when you're burning inside. That's real dominance. That's real power. Here's a technique that works. When you feel strong emotions rising, take a deep breath and imagine you're watching the situation happen to someone else. What advice would you give that person? How would you want them to respond? This mental distance gives you the space you need to choose your response instead of just reacting. Remember, emotions are information, not commands. They tell you something is happening, but they don't get to decide what you do about it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control myself. Law 4. Control the frame, never defend. Here's a mistake that destroys most people's power. They defend too much. When someone insults you or attacks your character, your natural instinct is to defend yourself. You want to explain why they're wrong. You want to justify your actions. You want to prove your worth. But here's what Machiavelli knew. If you defend too much, you admit weakness. Think about it. Strong people don't need to defend themselves constantly. Confident people don't need to justify every decision. Ever feel like you're just reacting to life instead of directing it? What if I told you the secret to real power isn't about controlling others, but mastering yourself? It all starts with self-control. Think about it. The ability to stay calm when everyone else is panicking, to hold your tone when you're tempted to lash out, to focus on your goals when distractions are everywhere. That's true power. It's about being the chess player, not the pawn. When you master your emotions and impulses, you become unflappable. People notice that quiet confidence. You start making better decisions, building stronger relationships, and carving your own path instead of getting pushed around. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being in charge of your emotions. Start small. The next time you feel a strong impulse, just pause for 3 seconds before you act. That tiny gap is where your power grows. Like what you heard? Subscribe for more tips on mastering your life. Smart people don't rely on willpower. They build systems that make self-control the easy choice. The goal is to make calmness your default and reacting feel unnatural. This isn't about suppressing feelings, but mastering them so you can stay composed no matter what. A key strategy is using indifference as a weapon. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect a reaction. Anger, defensiveness, that's what they want. It proves they can control you. But genuine indifference? That shows them they have no power. It frustrates manipulators more than any argument ever could. How do you develop this? Focus on what truly matters. Your goals, your growth. You have bigger things to think about than petty provocations. When someone insults you, don't just ignore it. Treat it like it doesn't even exist. Your lack of reaction speaks volumes, showing a strength they can't touch. Thanks for watching. Will it protect something important to me? Will it teach others not to mess with me? If the answer is yes, then plan your response strategically. If the answer is no, then let it go completely. This isn't about being weak or passive. This is about being strategic. This is about not letting other people dictate how you spend your limited time and energy. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." But he also understood that not every danger is worth facing. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every person is worth your attention. The master picks their battles carefully. They fight when it serves them and walk away when it doesn't. Most people let their pride make these decisions. They fight because they feel they have to, not because they strategically should. But pride is expensive. Pride makes you predictable. Pride makes you weak. Cold calculation makes you powerful. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. 1. Choose wisely. Law 10. Become untouchable through detachment. People can only bother you when they find a way in. When they discover something you care about so much that you'll sacrifice your peace to defend it. But when you're truly detached, when nothing outside of yourself controls your inner peace, you become untouchable. This doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It means you don't let your caring make you vulnerable to manipulation. You can love your family without letting threats against them control your decisions. You can be proud of your work without letting criticism of it destroy your confidence. You can want success without letting setbacks devastate your spirit. Detachment means you have preferences, not dependencies. You want things, but you don't need them for your basic sense of self-worth and peace. When nothing outside controls your peace, people lose their power over you. When people can't manipulate your emotions, they can't manipulate your behavior. This makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Not dangerous because you'll hurt others, but dangerous because others can't hurt you. Think about the most untouchable person you know. What makes them that way? It's probably not that they don't care about anything. It's that they don't let their caring make them desperate, needy, or controllable. Machiavelli once said, "He who is highly esteemed is not easily conspired against." When you're untouchable, people respect you. They might not always like you, but they respect your strength. They respect your self-control. They respect your independence. And respect is more valuable than affection, because respect lasts longer and runs deeper. To develop this detachment, practice holding things lightly. Enjoy your successes without clinging to them. Learn from your failures without being destroyed by them. Value your relationships without being desperate for approval. The goal is to reach a point where you're fully engaged with life, but not dependent on any particular outcome for your happiness. If you've made it this far, you now possess something most people will never have: the knowledge of how to become truly unbothered. These 10 laws aren't just theories. They are practical weapons you can use starting today to transform yourself into someone who cannot be shaken, cannot be manipulated, and cannot be controlled by the actions of others. Remember, indifference is not weakness. It is sovereignty. It is the crown only the strong can wear. When someone tries to provoke you tomorrow, you'll remember Law 2 and respond with powerful silence. When someone criticizes you next week, you'll remember Law 5 and remain detached from their opinion. When someone tries to drag you into their drama next month, you'll remember Law 10 and stay untouchable. But here's the thing: knowledge without action is useless. These laws only work if you use them. They only change your life if you change your behavior. Start with one law. Pick the one that resonated with you most. Practice it for the next week. Master it, then add another. Before you know it, you'll be the person everyone wonders about. The person who stays calm when everyone else loses their minds. The person who seems immune to the chaos that destroys others. You'll be untouchable. If this video helped you understand something important about power and self-control, hit that like button. Share this video with someone in your life who gets bothered too easily, someone who reacts to every provocation, someone who needs to learn these laws. And if you want to learn more secrets of power, influence, and mental strength that most people never discover. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. I'm going to teach you everything the masters knew, but never shared publicly. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am cold, calm, untouchable. The weak react, the strong respond. The masters don't need to do either. They simply exist in a state of unshakable power. Which one will you be?